Hello everybody, it's Exterminate here, and to complement my video yesterday on the Haymaker, I have created a little bit of a picture on some of the most obvious lines of sight in Call of Duty Black Ops 3, and I marked them to basically show you where the spots are that the Haymaker excels, and where the spots that back up my theory of it is just completely overpowered are. You can see the table up top, bad lines of sight, a place where you potentially win the gunfights, and where you will likely win a gunfight. First places I'm going to talk about are the spawns. As you can see, the spawns in the rears of both sides of the maps, behind the houses. Those are places where you will almost certainly win a gunfight with the Haymaker, because the Haymaker, as you know, is a fully automatic shotgun, and it's a reliable two-shot kill, so it's going to be able to take on a Vesper, a Pharaoh, even a VMP at that close range. And so if the spawns are places where if you know someone on the other team has a Haymaker, you need to be very careful in those spawns. Now, outside of the spawns, you're very weak, because there are a lot of long lines of sight where you're going to not be able to do very much. Immediately when you go out of each spawn, there's going to be a small building or wall jutting out on one side that you can easily hide behind, and if anybody comes around the corner, you can probably take them on with a Haymaker. Anywhere else in the yard, behind either of the houses, you're going to be in a very bad place. Yeah, if you look at all the yellow places, there are only 4 as of right now. But those are all places where you can probably win a gunfight depending on how good you are and depending on who fires the first shot. And you can see there are a lot of red lines of sight, but those are all lines of sight where submachine guns are going to win against a Haymaker. However, because of all of the extra movement features there are in Black Ops 3, you might be able to win if you have a Haymaker, as long as you can outmaneuver your opponent, which can be very difficult, but it can be done. Inside all the houses, you can stay there and camp with a Haymaker and be almost certain to win. You can, what you need to do though is just stay out of the lines of sight coming from the windows, because as you can see, the lines of sight for both of the houses extend throughout the middle of the map. So you have a lot of vulnerabilities through the middle of the map. Now on the top right and the top left of the map, you can see that there are those alleyways there where you have no chance of winning with a Haymaker, so stay out of there and instead run through the building. If you need to get through the center of the map, that one's a little bit more difficult, because you have very few options, and you're going to need to boost jump or power slide or something along those lines if you even want to have a slight chance. So if you're coming out of a house on the right, you want to go into the garage and you want to duck behind. There's a little wall there that you want to try to duck behind at the very top, and then you want to try to get where the number 4 is, because that's a place where you can hide behind a car, wait for your boost to refill, and then you can zoom into the other house, or you can duck behind the sign and then zoom into the other house. So that's what you're going to need to do if you want to try to get across the map with a Haymaker. Now, I make it sound hard, but that is actually relatively easy. You could also go into the bus, wait in the bus, but that one has multiple open lines of sight coming out of it, so you need to be very careful when going in there. My personal preference is to go behind the car if it's already been exploded. If it hasn't been exploded yet, then I like to stay on one side of the map and sit in the car until it explodes, or make it explode. Those are just my personal preferences on how to do things with the Haymaker, but on this map, if you're not using a haymaker or a machine gun and are, say, sticking with, I don't know, say an assault rifle, then all the red lines of sight are the lines of sight that you want to try to stay within, and you want to try to stay off of buildings, because a haymaker will mess you up very, very quickly. Remember, fully automatic, you can get rapid fire on it. At that point, it fires pretty quickly, and it's a reliable 2-shot kill. It's like a 1-shot headshot. So you need to be careful for that. And if you are using a haymaker, never run directly through the middle of a map. Just never do that. If you run through the middle of a map, you're exposing yourself to just about every single line of fire there is. And yeah, you don't want to be doing that. You always want to try to run around through the sides of the map if you're trying to get from one house to the other. Now, you have a shotgun. Shotguns are meant for running and gunning, but not on this map. I'll probably, that's basically going to conclude my brief, you can't call it a tutorial, but this is just a little bit of, you know, I don't even know what to call it, an overview, yeah, an overview or an outline of what you could do with a haymaker. This map alone doesn't illustrate how it is overpowered, but if you put a long barrel and rapid fire on it, even some of these longer lines of sight, like the one in between the two buses, that one you can still potentially win with. However, that would probably be a 3 or 4 shot kill. So that's just, if that's going to conclude it, tomorrow I'm probably going to, well, maybe not tomorrow, but at some point I'm going to be doing the other map overviews with the haymaker to try to back up my theory of how overpowered it actually is. And maybe next Wednesday, I don't know what I'm going to do for a podcast then, but I might try to make it about the KN and how broken that is. And, you know, comparing it in gunfights to some machine guns, shotguns, and melee weapons. So, I hope you enjoyed. Please like, subscribe, comment, and see you later.